Woohoo!
Woo! Um, I'm a massive fan, Patricia. Thank you for your time.
Oh,
Um,
thank you so much. Thank you.
um, I love this movie a lot. I was fortunate enough to see it in a theater. There's a small art house theater by my house, and it was packed. There was like, it was small, but there was at least there was a good group there. And
I'm
there was
so
a
you go so you got to see it in all its glory. You saw it on the big screen, this 35.
Yeah,
This is not some tiny little film that like, Sundance. This is it's a big, beautiful 35 millimeter film, shot
yeah.
by Kate Arismandes,
It's
directed by Andrea Pallaoro.
It's gorgeous, and it's
It's
just so
beautiful.
it's a beautiful movie. I mean, I saw it when it first came out near me, and I have not stopped thinking about it. And
Oh, wow.
when I rewatched it, um, I mean, I'm a big fan of you, but I'm a huge fan of Trace Lysette too.
Yes.
I think the thing that I kept thinking about since I watched it was um this lingering pain that I felt
Yeah.
from Monica. She is not really articulating about that, and Eugenia is experiencing physical pain. Um if she's experiencing emotional pain, she's probably not telling us. And I guess I just wanted to know maybe if you guys talked about that, or if that was present for you at all, just because that is something that I just kept thinking about.
Well, it is a movie about past and present pain. It is a
Hmm.
movie about reconciliation. It is a movie about forgiveness. It is a movie about, you know, a, a mother's love and a daughter's love.
Hmm.
It is universal in that way, but it is this strife that each of them have deep within themselves.
Hmm.
And, you know, one of the reasons I took this film, of course, it was not lost on me that a exceptional transgender actress would get to lead a film and
Hmm.
let me be the wind beneath her wings, let me be her backup singer. It
Hmm.
would be a real first, and a beautiful movie, a movie that is articulate and soulful and deeply now applauded by the trans community in massive, massive ways. So, um, but I think what the movie touches on with so many people, everyone from my family in New Orleans to all of my friends here in New York, many who are part of the LGBTQ plus community, to, my cis friends with their, rather conventional lives, but it touches everybody across the board because
Hmm.
that's Andrea Pallaoro. That's the power of Andrea Pallaoro. That's the film he set out to make. He set out to make a film about love and death and forgiveness and family. And
Hmm.
that's what we all want in our lives, is for our parents to love us, our siblings to love us, our friends to be close to us. And when we don't have that, what do we have? So
Yeah.
many people in the trans community have had their parents are torn from their parents, and so we didn't talk so much about our pain individually, but Trace and I, from the moment we met, you can only create so much.
Hmm.
You can only perform so much and kind of, but from the moment I met Trace, I felt an immediate bond to her. I felt very maternal immediately. And I saw her first across a crowded room at an Emmy party 4 years ago. And I took my breath away and I said, my God, that's my child.
Hmm.
And I felt that ever since. And so the two of us, just also, it took us a while to raise money. So I would see Andrea and Trace when I was in LA, or then when Andrea was here in New York, he would visit me and I would hang with him. So we just started to really bond before we started shooting.
Mm. Oh, wow.
And even though it takes Eugenia a while to come to that place of love of her child and understanding that it is her child, first of
Mm-hmm.
all, and a profound love, I think ultimately. Um, you know, we knew all of that was deep inside of us. We kind of didn't have to discuss it, which was
Okay.
nice.
This is a movie that I mean, it keeps saying like, it's not spoken, but this is such a deeply felt movie. And I feel like it's so I don't know, there's something about it, like not just saying like the cliched phrase like a movie that leads with its heart, but it's sort of like it does. And I felt when I rewatched it just this week, I was just so like ugh the whole time. But it was like not, it wasn't like depressing. I was like on the edge of my seat the whole
Mm-hmm.
time
Mm-hmm.
because what these two women are sort of radiating to each other. I felt very affected by that. Um, and I will say just, I mean, you are an actor who I think the gay community has always felt very supported by, and yeah,
Yes.
and 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 Trace, I could tell as soon as I knew that you folks were going to be playing mother and daughter, and I was like, that is a match made in queer heaven. I cannot, I knew it. Um, yeah.
We are
Um,
queer heaven. That's
yeah,
my new
queer
moniker.
heaven.
I'm just
That's
queer heaven. I'm Patricia Queer Heaven Clarkson. Okay.
um, I don't want to keep talking about pain, but I did want to know if you um it's alluded to what happened between Monica and Eugenia, and I can imagine the fights that happened between these two characters. Is that something that you established for
Or
yourself or
was it,
something?
well, or was it the father? Did I
Mm,
take the hit for the father? And Andrea didn't want to spell everything out.
right.
And was I saving her from a father that was not in any way going to deal with us?
Mm,
And but let me tell you something. There's that one moment. I mean, Eugenia loves her children.
yes.
Loves, 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 loves her children. And even though one has gone and has transitioned, I think the only reason she can die now, or she didn't care about having more treatment, I
Mhm,
think she gave up is because that child is gone and no longer in her life. And
mm,
when she starts to realize who this beautiful woman is in her life, and that bathtub scene is, that's it. I know that this is my child. I have found unconditional love, the love I didn't have years ago. I have found, I mean, I had unconditional love for my child when they were young, but I now have found that love again now.
mm,
And, that's what, one of the reasons I took this part. I thought, my God, Andrea, how beautiful that this woman, raised in a certain way, living in a certain house, in the ninth hour of her life, finds unconditional love and dies with the love of her child. And her
mhm.
child spends the rest of her life with her mother's love. That's profound. It is
Yeah.
a rare story told. And I just think, and it's one that the transgender community has so embraced, a mother finally, the acceptance and love of that your child is your child is your child is your child.
Mhm.
It's that simple. you know.
Yeah.
And we this film was brutal for us to shoot. Make no mistake, I this was truly one of the most difficult parts I've ever taken on. And I've played a sick woman or a dying woman before, but this was a whole different level because of the brain cancer. I never knew which part of my body. I had no body and I had no voice. As actors, we our biggest assets, our tools are our body and our voice, and I was robbed of both in this part.
Yeah.
And I showed up not sure that I could do this. I'm a very physical actress. I'm a very verbal actress. And my best friend Ricky, he was like, Patty, you and Trace are like silent screen stars
Hmm.
sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I had to become. I had to have the depth and breadth of this character so deep inside me that I didn't need words. I didn't need a body. I just had to look at Trace, or I had to look at my son, or I had to look at, Adriana Barraza, one of the greatest actresses around
Oh,
today, who
I was
showed,
so happy to see her. I was
I
so
mean,
excited. Yeah.
how, let me tell you, those scenes where I'm just kind of looking at her as she's helping me, I'm just looking at her. I'm not acting.
Hmm.
I'm just, I'm just, I just love her. I just had one of the most beautiful times of my life as an actress, getting to know this brilliant actress, and having Trace, Adriana, Josh. I mean, just Emily, these kind of towering actors
Hmm.
around you. And it was a beautiful, it was brutal at times, but it was a beautiful way to work. It really was. We were all on the same page, you
I,
know?
yeah, you talking about being a physical actor, like one of my favorite classes in theater school, like I loved going to voice and speech class every week because I didn't know this before I went to school about how the voice lives inside the body and how they complement and you can use one another to great effect. And when I rewatched it, that I'm so glad you brought that up because that was something that I really latched onto, the sort of this physical deterioration of your character. And I thought, and I was like, that has to be so unbelievably difficult. And the more that the movie goes on, the more I am realizing that you're acting with your eyes or the tilt of your head. Like this, that we bringing up Adriana, there's the makeup scene. I mean,
Oh, this.
you just looking up at her is such a I don't know. I feel peace sort of settling in that house between these women.
Yeah.
That it's sort of like Eugenia is sort of being set down, and I have an image of being like set down in water and sort of gently pushed. That's the weird imagery I have in my head. Um yeah, just yeah, big voice and speech nerd here. Um and
Well, I had a movement teacher at Yale, Wesley Foddy, and he said the body never lies. He
mhm.
had a very strong New York accent. He was like, people, the body never lies. And I never know that. The body doesn't. And when you have to take your own body and incapacitate it
Mhm.
in a way that was so um, ever present, and it was interesting on the set when I would finish a take, or we would finish a scene, and I would get out of bed and start to walk, and everybody would try to help me.
Mhm.
And I was like, you guys, I'm actually okay. I'm fine. and everybody would try to help me down the stairs. I'm like, I'm okay, right? I'm Patty. I can just go down the stairs. I've got it. I've got it. Everybody would crowd around me to
Like, oh God.
help me down the stairs. And I'd be like, you guys, I'm okay.
Yeah. Oh goodness.
But it was all in all, it was such a beautiful, one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had in my career. Just coming together in the middle of COVID, no money, no time, very limited, scope, but these remarkable people who showed up, one of the best crews I've ever worked with, and everybody coming together to make this beautiful film, that has stayed with so many people. My sister the other day was just like, Patty, well, how long ago did you come and show all of us Monica? I went to New Orleans and I took it to New Orleans and showed it in the theater.
Mm,
And they just so still just thinking about this film. This is months later. I took it down in May,
wow.
you know.
Mm.
She said, Patty, I just sometimes I'm brought up short. I think about it was so difficult for me to see you in that part.
I
I said,
I don't think
I'm
we've
sorry,
yeah.
I
I,
warned you.
yeah, we've never seen you like this. And it's
Mm,
because I mean you always have this really in a lot of the films and things that we've seen. I don't know, there's I this is I'm not gonna be able to articulate this well, but I don't know you have this really unpredictable effervescence on screen. That's one of my favorite things about you as a performer. You're so you have the ability to be like joyously light and seeing you in this part, like I will admit that the circumstances that I had like with my mother
mm,
obviously very different between Eugenia and Monica,
right.
but I feel like a lot of queer people will automatically think of their relationship with their parents. And one of the things that I thought to myself, honestly, not to be sort of personal, but I kept thinking to myself, because my mom died maybe a, a couple of years ago, and
I'm
she
sorry. Were you close to her?
yeah, I will admit that I did sort of, and this is the thing that I thought of. It was like sometimes I think in the messiness of adulthood, um, we sometimes forget to be good sons and daughters to our parents. And
Mhm.
she died kind of suddenly, and I sort of worried about that. And Monica
Wow.
made me think about that a lot. Like nothing bad or anything, but it just
Right,
I think yeah, we were close, but we weren't like as close as like some other like gay friends that I know are close to their
right.
mothers. But yeah, I think it just sort of that was a tangent. Wow, Joey. It was just
Joey, it's
I
all
I
right. It's good.
I just think
No,
it's
this
something.
film has brought a lot of my friends to their mother,
Mm,
my straight friends, gay friends, trans friends. It's brought everybody to kind of a rethinking or a reconciliation or a just an angst. I mean, it's brought, you know, it's brought back good memories, bad memories. It that's the power of Andrea Pallaoro. That's the power of the writing, of setting up this story that is not a conventional way to tell the life of a family,
hmm Yeah.
and what's as important is off screen as on screen. Like the way he shoots, what he leaves out of the frame is as important as what's in the frame.
And I do think that we need more of um I always say we live in like gimme culture where we need to know every single little thing. I really love that we don't see Monica leaving the house as a teenager.
No,
I love the gray area of everything. And but it's just like it makes me think with this particular film that it just hones in on these very precious moments that these two women have together. Um, I did.
No, again, that's Andrea. Andrea is
Mm-hmm.
comfortable with gray. He's
Mm,
comfortable with not telling everybody everything.
good.
He's comfortable with it being, um, you abstract from it what you will. It's like that scene in the bathtub. Sometimes people don't know that I know that I do know in that moment it's my child, but it's not some big, it's a very emotional scene. And I don't know, if, but sometimes people interpret it in another way, but I don't, I know what the scene is. I do.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to think of it in some other way, I mean, that's that's Andrea, but I mean, we know what the scenes are. We know what this is and what, that's my moment. I know that this woman in front of me is my child. This woman who is bathing me is my child, and I know it.
Yeah.
And I want her to know it. And I don't know that she's going to accept it, and she struggles with it. But I want her to know that I love her, you know.
And there's
And
yeah,
yeah,
there's something also that's in there about that I realized as the film goes on, the sort of importance of touch, physical touch,
mm-hmm.
that I was really um aware of when I rewatched it. Like I think the first time that I noticed Eugenia touching another person is when she's sitting there with her son.
Yes,
And she you say he says I love you, and you say I love you more, I made you, and then you sort of encourage him to to make right by his wife, and you say family comes first. And then as
yeah,
the movie keeps going on, I love that there are these like tiny little pockets of just touching. Like you're in that chair, I think in the makeup scene, and no, it's the scene where they take your picture and Trace touches you twice and you respond to it. And then it comes like to me, I mean, I picked up on the bathtub scene, but it was sort of like screeching to a huge moment there without being a huge moment there. But
no, it's
yeah,
it's
yeah, and then later we see like your back and she's rubbing your back, and it was sort of just like I just kept imagining Monica maybe being tentative to touch Eugenia, but then like maybe her feeling a response to it. I think that is even such a beautiful tactile textured
it
thing.
is it is through the power. I've touched my mother many times,
Hmm.
and it is, that is how I think ultimately Monica and Eugenia come back together, is through the power of touch.
Yeah.
It's through the power of love, which is love, that when you are able to really touch someone and to help someone, to bathe someone, to heal, to take away someone's pain, physical pain, that is love. That is mother and daughter at its highest level, at its most basic, beautiful level for
Hmm.
me. And, I, but that's again, Andrea finding the power in the physical touch as opposed to words and I love yous and, you're my daughter and I can't, I mean, I can't live without you and I'm going to
Hmm.
die. It's all interpretive. Um, it's all very European, but taking place in Ohio.
I live in Ohio, so
Yes. No,
yeah.
but shot in fabulous Cincinnati. We had a best time in
Oh,
Cincinnati.
you're in
Oh my
Cincinnati.
God.
Wow, that's so
Where
cool.
are you from in Ohio?
I'm originally from Pittsburgh. We moved here for my husband's job. We live in Columbus.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But you didn't know we shot this in Cincinnati. And we were in this hotel, this very new kind of modern, cool boutique hotel, put us all up, gave the production a deal and a half. And we were
Wow.
all in this hotel and it was fabulous. It was really, and it had a great restaurant and bar. And we all just, we go shoot all day and then we gather in the hotel, bar, the restaurant at night. And oh, it was so nice, so nice,
Mhm.
so nice. Yeah.
Wow.